I spent many years in 12-step recovery, and I learned so many healthy, helpful things, many of which I teach you. And one of those was a little saying that talked about living life on life's terms. And I love that because it reminds me that I don't get to choose everything, that things happen to all of us. Bad things happen to good people, good things happen to bad people. The rain falls on the just and the unjust, we know. And, it's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be easy. People get sick, people die, people lose jobs. There's problems in relationships. We live in a sinful world that is not as God planned it. God didn't plan this world. He didn't plan for it to be full of pain and sin and hurt and hardship and disconnection in relationships with Him and with each other. So, I mean, this isn't the way it was supposed to be. So, life does happen to all of us. So, how do we live it? Well, we have to live life on life's terms, but it's not so easy to do. It's purposeful. We got to work at it. We got to be aware of it. We got to know that when we're fighting and resisting and refusing to accept the things that happen to us, that is causing us wasted energy. And it's causing us to not be able to move forward and to make changes. So, what are the following things prevent us from living life on life terms or accepting life on life's terms? You can say it either way, living or accepting life on life's terms. So basically, holding on to your own expectations in spite of the fact that things aren't as they should be. When you hold on to the expectation of, but it shouldn't be this way, it shouldn't be this way, I shouldn't have to deal with this, I shouldn't be the one that has a disabled child, I shouldn't be the one who has cancer, or I shouldn't be the one who ended up in the difficult marriage. I mean, when you struggle with things that you didn't plan, you did the opposite, you did everything right, and then you ended up with that. Being in that situation where you're continually fighting it does the opposite. You're not going to be able to reach acceptance. Acceptance is a powerful place to be. And when you accept things on life's terms, it goes better. I'll show you. The next one is staying stuck in the if onlys. If only I hadn't met this person, if only I hadn't gone there, if only I hadn't gone to the store that day to get in that accident, if only I had said this to this person before the person left, or if only I had said no, if only, if only, if only. You can go on forever, ever, ever, ever on that, and it's not going to help. That is part of the grief process, but you got to move on from that. It's part of coming to terms with it. Do it and move on. Don't stay stuck in the if onlys. Be there for a certain amount of time and then accept it. There is no if only. It happened. The next one is comparing yourself to others and becoming envious of the fact that other people don't have it so hard. Why do you have two autistic children when other people don't have any children that have disabilities? There's no answer to that question necessarily. And staying stuck in that place of comparing yourself to others and then feeling bad about yourself and being envious doesn't help you, does not help you to accept life on life's terms. The next one is to refuse to deal with reality and staying stuck in denial. This is not happening. This is not happening. This is not my life. This is not what I'm dealing with. I don't want this. I don't want it. Not helping. Let it go. Let the denial go. You are dealing with it, period. Next one, bathing yourself in self-pity and martyrdom. Poor me. Life is so hard for me. I guess I have nothing but to move ahead and deal with this. Do that, move ahead, deal with it, accept it, but not out of self-pity, not out of martyrdom, out of strength, okay? Out of strength, out of acceptance. Acceptance will allow you to move forward, not in martyrdom, not in self-pity, but in strength. Refusing to accept life on life's terms results in wasted energy and time. Didn't I wasted a lot of time, a lot of energy. Man, I'll tell you, when I let go of having to try to force my husband to change, I had so much energy that I started my ministry. That literally freed up all of that time, all of that focus. There's so much other that we can do than trying to force somebody else to change and trying to fight our reality and trying to make things different. The next one that it results in is an inability to change what we can, right? Serenity prayer. God, grant me the courage to change the things I can, right? To accept the things I cannot change the things I can. Basically, okay. When you accept what you can't change, you then get to choose what you can change. Oh, a whole lot right there. Next one is it results in an absence of peace or rest and the presence of turmoil and unrest. So acceptance will give you, accepting life on life's terms gives you peace. It gives you the ability to enter into rest. That is what you want. You don't want to be in unrest and turmoil. The next one is accepting life on life's terms. What does that get you? It gets you the opposite. Like I said, it gives you rest. It gives you peace because you get to enter that place of not fighting, not resisting, but accepting. Accepting means literally that you put out your hand, put my hand up high enough there, and you receive what is offered. You take what's offered and you close your hand and you pull it to yourself. That's acceptance. The opposite of acceptance, refusing to accept, is putting out your hand. No, no, no. Look at how much energy goes into that. No, 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 no. Not going to accept it. Opposite of accepting life on life's terms. Accept what you cannot change. Then you get options. What are you going to do now that you accept it? All that energy is not going to go into refusing it anymore and refusing to believe it and refusing to accept it. So now you get to put the energy into something else. What about a closer relationship with God? What about submitting to God's will and trusting God in the midst of the situation that you don't like? And by submitting yourself to God's will, you are getting closer to him. You are trusting him more. That is a huge benefit. Next one is better relationships with other people because you're not resisting and you're not trying to control and you're not trying to force them to change. You're focusing on yourself and what your options are and what you can change. You're letting go of the things that you cannot change. And presence of peace, like I said, and the ability to fully rest in God. When you accept life on life's terms, you get options. It's a much better place to be than to be refusing to accept life. You're not changing life because you're refusing to accept it. It's still there. You just get to decide, do I accept life on life's terms or do I refuse to accept life on life's terms? I bet you now it makes a whole lot more sense to you to accept it. You know, the Israelites in Exodus 6:6-8, the Lord told Moses to tell them that God sees them, that he would free them, he would redeem them, and he would bring them into the promised land, that they would know as a result that he was God. Okay, gave them a lot of promises, and he'd already shown himself pretty strong on getting them out of Egypt when he brought in all of those plagues with Pharaoh to make Pharaoh let him go and parting the Red Sea to protect them from Pharaoh's armies. But the Israelites didn't expect hardship. They thought, okay, we're going to get out of here. We're going to go straight to the promised land. There's not going to be no tests, no strain, just walk out of Egypt straight into the promised land. So when they were out of water, out of food, even though God had shown himself to do miracles on their behalf and provide for them, and he had promised to bring them to the promised land. That was the promise. They were going to get there. They could have trusted that no matter what, God will get them there because he would follow through with his promise. Instead, they complained, they got upset, they murmured, they talked against Moses, they sinned, they worshiped idols, they did all kinds of stuff. And basically, their 2 years in the wilderness turned into 40 years of wasted time in the wilderness. And most of them never made it there. So we don't want to spend all that time in the wilderness of refusing to accept the things that we cannot change. We want to accept them, and then we want to begin on our journey. That is the benefit of accepting life on life's terms. So thank you for watching this video on Change My Relationship.